Hey everyone. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name's Bridget and I cover all things true crime. So if that's something you're interested in, I would love if you would subscribe to the channel and like the video. So a big hello to everyone that's in the chat and a hello to everyone that's watching the replay. I think we get lots of replay viewers, which is nice. I know some people can't do the stream live at that time. For me, it's just past midday here in Australia, but a big good evening to everyone over on the other side of the world. Hello to the chat. Hello Samantha, Carol, Audra, Miss Justice, Jack's mum. I hope that you're all having a lovely evening or day if you're in Australia as well. So today in our live, firstly, can everyone let me know if the sound is okay? But today in our live, I want to go over the Mollie Tibbetts case. I followed the trial. For me, being in Australia, I have to play catch up because the trial's actually going on whilst I'm asleep. So the next day I have to play catch up. So it's a bit hard for me to cover trials, watch the trials and then go live about them because I'm always behind. But now that the trial is actually over and we have a verdict, I thought it might be really, hey Tawanda, I thought it might be nice to go over the whole trial, go over the case in general and then talk about the trial, because this trial was something else. It was for the first 5 days it was just a trial to me. It just seemed like a trial. But then, you know, when Cristhian got up onto the stand, things just went wild. So I don't know if everyone is familiar with the case or if you watched the trial. So for anyone that isn't, this would be a great stream because I'm going to go over all of the basic facts. For me personally, as someone who loves all things true crime, I personally love facts. I'm not as much into speculation. I'm more about the facts. And I like to look at cases on the whole and see how we got from A to B. So that's where I'm coming from with this. So let's start. Miss Justice doesn't know about the case? Interesting. Well, this will be a good stream for you. So, the victim in this case is Mollie Tibbetts. And at the time, I believe she was 20. She went missing on July 18th, 2018. I don't know if I remember this case in 2018. I'm sure I probably vaguely heard about it, but for me it wasn't a huge case. I think it was nationwide in America, though. Tawanda says the defense made a mockery of our justice system. I have a lot of thoughts about the defense. Oh, Audrey says it happened right before the Watts in 2018. So that might be why it wasn't as big internationally, maybe. I do remember hearing about it, but I'd actually gotten it confused with a different case at first. It took me a little bit to realise what had actually happened. So on July 18th, 2018, Mollie went jogging. She goes jogging all the time. She lives in Brooklyn, Iowa. It's a very rural area. She goes jogging. Apparently in that area, they don't even lock their doors to their houses because it's considered a really safe place. She goes missing. They suspect whilst on a run, and it takes until August 21st, so 6 weeks later, for them to actually find her body. And the reason they find her body is because Cristhian Rivera actually leads them to her body that's in a cornfield. So how did we get from her going missing on the 18th of July to 6 weeks later? During that time, the police canvass and they go and talk to so many people, try and gather as much evidence as they can. They look into her as a person, her lifestyle. She was very low risk. She wasn't someone that was into drugs or into any high risk behaviours, so it was very sort of confusing. She wasn't like a typical victim in that sense, if that makes any sense at all. Whilst they're doing all of this, they find surveillance footage, and it's a tiny, tiny shadow. You can barely see her running, but you can see her on that date running. And then seconds later, a car drives past. So it was a big break in the case. And so from there, they start looking for that car. They find the car and they interview Cristhian Rivera. Now, he doesn't speak English, or he has really, really poor English. Hey, Cheryl T, how are you? So there is a interpreter used, and he doesn't really confess. He leads them to where the body is. He doesn't say he killed her. He says that he stopped because he thought she was pretty. There was conjecture over whether he said that she was hot or not. He says that he thought she was pretty. He says he blacks out, but he sort of comes clear again with her AirPods in his lap whilst he's in the car and she's in the trunk. He says that he doesn't know whether she's alive or not, and he dumps her in a cornfield not knowing if she was alive or not. So it doesn't actually say that he killed her. But he does say, well, I brought you here. And so there's sort of inference in that, I guess. So the trial goes ahead, and during the trial he has interpreters. He has two different interpreters that swap out. And the trial happened in the last 2 weeks. We just had the verdict a couple of days ago. And at first, so I went into it without much information about it, the case at all. So I went into it sort of fresh, which I really liked and enjoyed. For me personally, I have so many thoughts about the actual trial. And I also have thoughts about the lawyers. So I want to go through those because I've been waiting to talk about them, to be honest with you. Okay, so the defense lawyers are Jennifer and Chad Freeze. They're a married couple. And I have to say this. The whole time that I was watching this case, for some reason, oh my gosh, why has his name escaped me all of a sudden? Oh, that's going to annoy me. I can't believe I've forgotten who I was saying that he was like. Does anyone have any idea why I would think that Chad Freeze would remind you of a celebrity? Does anyone think... Did anyone come up with that? I can't believe I've just forgotten. I've gone blank on his pictures in my head. Alec Baldwin. For some reason, I don't know. I think it was his voice. I just couldn't get that out of my head the whole trial. I was like, ugh. So they come at this from a really interesting perspective. They really push on Mollie's boyfriend, Dalton Jack. And they basically accuse him of being the person that killed her. They talk about how he has affairs. Now, their version of affairs is flirt texting over Snapchat. I don't think of Dalton Jack as a great person, to be honest with you. And I don't think he came across well on the stand at all. I understand that he probably didn't want to be there because the person accused of murdering his girlfriend was in the room, but he did not come across okay with me. He didn't. He was subpoenaed to be there, so he wasn't there by free will, but he was very passive-aggressive, aggressive, was just, yeah. I mean, I can understand, I guess, in some sense, why he was so aggressive towards the defense, but because he knew that they were inferring that he killed her, but at the same time, he did not come across well. And so after like the first day, I was like, ooh, this isn't going to look good to a jury. So I was really hooked because I thought, ooh, that's something there. Tawanda says, Dalton was a shitty boyfriend, but not a murderer. I agree. And apparently Jack's mum made a frappuccino once for Alec Baldwin. So yeah, for some reason he reminded me of Alec Baldwin. And then the judge in the Robert Durst case, which I'm really behind on, he reminds me of Stephen Colbert. So, but yeah, so Dalton Jack comes across really, he didn't come across well on the stand. He was there for the prosecution, but then he was recalled again for the defense as well, and that was even worse. So the defense sort of push several different theories, one of them being that Dalton Jack had a motive to kill Mollie because she found out that he was cheating on her, and apparently he had anger problems, and the defense actually go through a couple of messages that he'd written to Mollie, which were very interesting. He mentions being a psychopath and things like that. I think that he sounds like he's probably just quite messed up and does need some help. Hey Mercedes girl, welcome. But for me, there wasn't enough motive there for me to think that he was involved at all, personally. And it seems that the law enforcement at the time, the detectives, didn't think that either, because he was extensively looked at. The thing I will say, though, is once Mollie was found, I do think that there should have been another search of the house that she was living in with Dalton and his brother. They didn't search the house. They did at first when she went missing, but after her body was found, I kind of think they should have searched the house again for any evidence. I mean, obviously, they weren't involved. No one in that house was involved, but it just seems really interesting that they didn't. Has he been sentenced yet? No, I think July, maybe 11th? Mid-July he's being sentenced. Cristhian Behena Rivera. So the defense tried really hard with that theory. They also try and... Basically what the defense are doing in any case is that they need to put doubt in the jurors' minds, because jurors have to convict beyond reasonable doubt. So there has to be enough evidence there for them to go, yes, you can't even question it. If you're like, I'm not really sure, then they can't be found guilty. So all the defense really has to do is have a couple of good theories to sort of sway the jury to be indecisive. So I personally think that I actually, despite popular opinion, I liked them in the sense that they were very clear and concise. You could see exactly where they were coming from, and you could see what they were trying to do. They lost me, though, on day 5 or day 6 when Cristhian Bahena Rivera takes the stand. But we'll talk about that in a minute. I hope we're still there. Oh, are we back? Can you guys... Hey, Black Rose! Can you guys pop a 1 in the chat if we're back? It says that OBS quit for a second. I just want to make sure we're back. And if you're enjoying the stream, I'd love if you would hit that like button for me. Hey, Elaine. We're good? I think they gave up because he had such a solid alibi. Yes, Dalton Jack had a great alibi. He was away when this happened. He was working. There was no proof that he was anywhere near. We're good. We're back. Thanks, guys. Okay, so I did like Mr. and Mrs. Freeze. I did, and I will always think of Mr. Freeze as Alec Baldwin. Apparently they have 6 kids as well. Okay, so they're the lawyers for, the defense lawyers for Cristhian Behena Rivera. My friend that I loved as well was the prosecutor, Scott Brown. He was brilliant. Let me know in the comments and the chat if you agree with me on that. I think he did such a brilliant job. Both sides, I felt, were very clear and concise on what they were talking about. I'm watching the Robert Durst, and I'm only on like day 3 or 4, so I've got a lot to catch up on. And I can't stand the defense lawyers for Robert Durst because they waffle on, and I'm having trouble following what they're asking. I felt that in this case with Mollie Tibbetts, both sides were very clear and concise. Miss Justice, Mr. Freeze is Mr. and Mrs. Freeze were actually the defense lawyers, Jennifer and Chad. They came together for this case. Usually they don't work together. You have to watch this case, this trial, Miss Justice. I found that this case, I found it really... At first I was watching the Robert Durst and Mollie Tibbetts case, but I couldn't do both at the same time because I'm always playing catch up being in Australia. So I focused on the Mollie Tibbetts case, and I really enjoyed it. And I know that's weird to say, but I really enjoyed the back and forth. I enjoyed how they questioned everyone. They made everything really clear for the jury. And Scott Brown was just brilliant. I found him really brilliant. I also liked watching the Freezers tag team each other and their different styles, because Jennifer Freeze was very clear and concise and quite gentle, and Chad Freeze was a little bit more, he pushed a little bit more, he was a little bit more aggressive, so he was given certain people to question. I think they did really well together, and I know that some people aren't going to like that I say that, but that's their job, and they did, I think they did a decent job until Cristhian got onto the stand. So the trial's going on, and you know, we're getting, I don't think because of COVID possibly none of the family were in court. It was just both sides and the jury. I think everyone watched live. Hey Morgan, I hope you're well. I hope you're doing well. So because of COVID, I think this is all a lot different. I think that a lot more trials now are being broadcast. I think it's great for people like us who are love respectful stalkers and who love to watch. It's very interesting. Hey Shine On, good morning. It's very interesting that when they were going through the evidence, certain things would be shown and certain things that they wouldn't show because of the graphic nature. So for instance, they would show a picture of the area in which Mollie Tibbetts' body was, and you could see like her running shoes, and you could see that the cornstalk was over her, but they wouldn't show you any of the broadcast wouldn't show you any of the actual photos of her during. So I think that was just probably because her family was watching. But I don't know. I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that they should be showing those photos, or do you think that it's just too graphic to show? For me personally, I understand that. I understand both sides. So, no, Prepper 101 hasn't been here, but maybe if we all summon him, he might come and say hello. Okay, so I really want to talk about Cristhian being on the stand. So you watch him through the whole trial with his headphones on, and he has 2 interpreters. I much respect for those interpreters, because that must have been such a full-on, because they have to interpret everything said. So whatever the judge says, prosecution, defense, whoever's being questioned on the stand, it's really full on. So we see him every day for the first, I think, 5 days. I think he gets up on day 6 on the stand. Then he gets up. So the prosecution rests, the defense come up, and at this point I'm like, ooh, I'm sort of conflicted a little. There isn't a lot of evidence in this case. The only real evidence that they have, obviously, is his 11-hour interview, in which he then takes detectives to her body, which obviously is pretty huge, a huge key factor. The defense tried to argue a little bit that it was a false confession, but no one sort of really believed that. The problem is we can't listen to the interview because it's not in English, and so there was a lot of time with Pamela Romero being on stand. She was the interpreter who also interviewed Cristhian. She was on the stand for a while. She didn't have a lot of experience when she did the interview, but she did such a good job on that stand. It was really, they really pushed her, and she was able to recall everything. She did a really great job. So where was I? The other evidence is that Mollie's blood was found. A small amount was found in the trunk of Cristhian's car. He had 6 weeks though to clean that car, so there could have been other blood possibly that he removed. That was all. That was the only 2. Because sometimes, say for instance, the Fotis Doulos, Jennifer Doulos case, there was blood everywhere. So there was a lot to go on, whereas with this there wasn't as much. But the key point being that he didn't confess to killing her, but he did confess to taking her body out of his trunk and putting her in the cornfield. So for me, there was an element of possible reasonable doubt, in a sense, if the defense did a good job. And when they put Cristhian Rivera on the stand, that's when their good job that I was talking about for the first 5 days, that's when it all went pear-shaped. I can't wait to explain to the people like Miss Justice who didn't watch the trial what happens next, because it's just wild. So the prosecution rests, and the defense says, we call Cristhian Rivera to the stand. And I was like, what? That's when people like us respectful stalkers, us true crime lovers, get our popcorn out and go, this is going to be good. This was wild. It was wild. He claimed on the stand that he came home from work that day and went to get something to clean his car, I think, because he was going on a date the next day. And he came home and it was hot, so he got in the shower. When he gets out of the shower this is July 18th, so it's summer in America. He's hot, he goes into the shower. He gets out, and 2 men wearing all black, faces covered, whole bodies covered in black, 2 men are there and force him to get into his own car and they take his phone off him. He claims that he didn't, because of his English, he didn't hear a whole bunch, but he did hear that one of the men say something about Jack. That is the last name of Mollie Tibbetts' boyfriend. So, a little convenient for me. They make him drive around, and they make him drive... They make him drive past Mollie. This is where it gets a little hazy for me, because I don't know whether because this story doesn't make sense. I didn't fully understand it. Maybe in the comments in the chat you can let me know. But for me, I can't remember I don't remember what happens next, in the sense that they drive past her. He doesn't say what happens to her, only that she gets put in the trunk of his car. They put his car keys and his phone in the trunk of the car with her, and then they magically disappear. They just poof out of our thin air. These ninjas, everyone was talking about these two ninjas, one named Jack, that were dressed in black in the middle of summer when it was really hot, and they just disappear. And then old mate, dumps Mollie's body, and hey Nikki, dumps Mollie's body, and then goes home. They let him, apparently these two men let him have his phone and let him go. It was just... So I just wish that I would have been able to see the reaction of the prosecutor's face when Cristhian was telling this story, because I would have been like, what? How do I question this guy? Like, because he wouldn't have known that this is what Cristhian was going to say on the stand. And it's just really interesting to watch, because oh, sorry, Jack's mum. Hey, Jack. Hi, Jack. Sorry. Jack's mum's Jack is a dog. That's why I'm calling out Jack. So I can't imagine what the prosecutor was thinking, because obviously the defense questions him and then the prosecution can. And it was just before lunchtime, so I was thinking, can they go do an early lunch to give poor Scott Brown a chance to sort of collect his thoughts and figure out how the hell he's going to question this guy. It was just, and this is where the jury, where everyone would have gone, yeah, no, sorry mate, I could have been with you up until a certain point, but you've just blown it for me. I think that if he hadn't have gotten on the stand with this story, I kind of feel like deliberations would have taken longer. I just do. Because, yes, he somewhat confessed and there was evidence of blood, but I think that it worked against him that he got up onto the stand and he clearly lied. That clearly didn't happen. So it was just wild. It was just, I was kind of frustrated at that point, because I thought, the defense had done such a good job, and then they go and ruin it. And then they put a poor woman on the stand who had been essayed by her father, Ron, I can't remember his last name. He was involved in the case, but I don't know why they were trying to shift blame onto him, and they brought this poor woman on the stand who had been essayed by her father, and it was just horrible. you know, they'd done such a good job during the prosecution's proceedings, and then when it was their turn, they blew it. Because you have to think of it that way. That's their job. And they just blew it. I was so disappointed. Yes, Jack's mum says the defense attorney said after the verdict it was consistent story the whole time. So according to the defense attorneys, they believe Cristhian, or actually they didn't ever say that. They just said that the story stayed consistent. He said that they enjoyed working with him. Miss Justice essayed the letter S and then an A. It's a type of assault. I'm just used to saying that now because it's safer on YouTube to do that. Most of my videos are restricted, not monetized because of the content, so I've just been starting to say that instead. Yes, thank you, Jack's mum. So the other thing is his story didn't match up with the evidence and the video surveillance. So he was saying that him and his ninja friends were going in the opposite direction when Mollie was running, but you don't see that on the surveillance footage. You see him. It's not consistent with the evidence shown. So I don't know how many hours they deliberated for. Let me see if I can find it, because I didn't. I woke up to the news. I wasn't around. Let me see if I can find any info on how long. It was several hours they deliberated for. It wasn't just, in and out. They did find him guilty. There's no death penalty in Iowa. He was found guilty of first-degree murder. Yes, it's a respectful way of saying it. There's a couple of different terms that they use now. His ninja friends, yeah, ninja friends. So he probably faces life imprisonment. So yeah, he was found guilty of first-degree murder. To be found guilty of first-degree murder, it has to be premeditated, and that can be in the space of like 5 seconds. If it can be premeditated. So I agree that it was. I wish that for Mollie's family that they knew more about what happened, because of how badly her body was being in the corn stalks in summer in the sun. Her body wasn't in a very good state, so there was no evidence on her. So they don't really know exactly what happened. They think that she was stabbed. But it would be nice, I guess, for more information to be known. Obviously, he's going to fight it and appeal it. They always do. But I would say probably life imprisonment. Yeah, Jack's mum, I think it was about 7 or 8 hours, because I started to watch a stream that went for 8 hours, but I just found that it was just it was blank because they were waiting for the verdict. Ooh, Elaine says that he nodded his head in agreement when the verdict was announced. I didn't see that, and I was watching him, so I might go back and have a little look at that. So there was some things. This case was interesting because Cristhianbahenarivera was illegally, or is illegally, in the country, and this happened in 2018. So we have to remember who was the president at this time. I'm not political at all, publicly at all, and I hope we can all be respectful, but just to just to put it out there, this happened in 2018. He was a illegal immigrant, and it was sort of a different time in a sense. So it did become a bit politically charged. So there's that sort of behind it as well. What happens to him is once he's served his sentence, he will be deported back to Mexico. I wonder if any leniency if he tells the truth for the family, Morgan says. Yeah, I mean, I wonder as well. Carol says, an American prison is a better option than living in Mexico. I mean, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking during it, that maybe it would be better for his sake to be found guilty. In that sense, then, I wonder why he didn't plead guilty and spare the trial. I don't know. But so, yeah, this case had sort of an interesting aspect that he wasn't here legally, and so then that unfortunately becomes the debate. Well, then this is why they shouldn't be let into the country, and that's just not the case, honestly. Nikki says, I just went and watched. He does nod when the guilty verdict is read. I'm going to go back and watch that after this stream. Miss Justice, that's okay. That's all right. There's a lot of different terms that are coming out, and sometimes I have to quickly Google it as well. In reality, I don't really care if the stream is monetized or not, but what it means is that YouTube won't show the streams to as many people, and so my channel doesn't grow as a result. So I'm trying to be a bit better about that. So yeah, I was watching this trial over the the Robert Durst one. I'm trying to go back and watch the Robert Durst one, but to be perfectly honest with you, it's quite painful to watch. I don't know about you guys. Are you guys watching the Robert Durst case? It's painful. The questioning is just so... It's boring. I don't know. Maybe I'm just spoiled. I found the Mollie Tibbetts case so good because everyone was so clear and concise in their questions, but I'm finding Robert Durst's lawyers, especially the old friend, I don't know. Cheryl says, I live on the border of Mexico. All Mexico is not how everyone thinks. Just saying, it's rough in areas, but prison is worse than life free Mexico. Thank you for that. Durst is a circus. So I think I'm on day 3 or 4. And it's painful to watch, to be perfectly honest with you. Oh, but the saving grace of it is the judge. I've never watched a judge like him. My friend Stephen Colbert. He looks like... Hang on, let me see if I can bring up a photo. And they're all... And it's different because, I guess, because it's a different state, they're all wearing masks and no one can take their masks off even to testify. Robert Durst, trial judge. It's definitely not exciting. The funny thing was on the first day was that because they'd started it like a year before and they had to stop because of COVID, the judge was like, where did we leave off? And the prosecutor, they're all cracking jokes and stuff as well. It's so strange. It's boring, but there are some fascinating things about it. But the prosecutor said to the witness who was on the stand a year ago, could you please answer the last question I asked you? And I mean, that was funny. Okay, let me see if I can... Here we go. I found him. Let me pop this photo up. I guess from a distance he looks like him. Up close he doesn't look like Stephen Colbert, but let me add this. Image. Judge Stephen Colbert. But he thinks of himself as like a comedian. don't know. He's just a very interesting human to me. There he is. He's on screen. You think Durst's attorney has early onset dementia? I don't know. There is a lot of laughter in the case. There's been chuckles, and I'm like, I guess maybe because it's such an old case. I don't know. I've never heard so much laughter in a trial of a murder case. I think I'll still continue to watch it because it's part of history, but it's quite painful to watch when there's so much other content that you can watch. See, I was looking forward to every day watching the Mollie Tibbetts case, and this one I'm not so much. But maybe once I've caught up, we can do a stream and chat about the Robert Durst case. But from what I'm hearing is a lot of people aren't really interested, which that in itself is interesting. I guess as well, we're dealing with COVID's has messed up so many court cases and trials, and so we're waiting for a lot of ones that we've been following for the last few years. Like, I really am interested in the Michael Wayne Jones Jr. case, but there's no information about that at all. See, Jack's mum, I haven't watched The Jinx. I think I might do that after this stream. I actually have to go and make up a new pen. One of my rabbits, Artie, keeps escaping his pen, so I've had to buy him a bigger one, a taller one. So I actually have to go and take his pen down and redo it. But I might put that on when I'm resting after that and start watching The Jinx, because I haven't seen it. Maybe I should watch that first and then start catching up on the trial. Morgan, I do believe he has cancer. I believe he may have like bladder cancer. Let me see. I'm sure that Jack's mum will let us know. A lot of people say that Robert Durst is pulling the Joseph D'Angelo Jr., the Golden State Killer card, but it's not the same because the Golden State Killer actually pleaded guilty and spared everyone the trial, which is the only positive thing I can say about him. Yes, he has bladder cancer apparently. He's suffering a myriad of life-threatening health issues, including bladder cancer. Oh yeah, because they tried to postpone his case indefinitely, didn't they? They tried to say that he was too sick to ever be tried for murder. I'm just like, that's not how it works, my friend. That's not how it works. Thanks, Black Rose. Yeah, I will go and watch The Jinx first. I think I started to watch it and then for some reason I stopped. It's really hard because I've been so busy. Do you want a little bunny update? Let me see if I can add some photos. I can give you a bunny. Oh, I know, Morgan. Morgan says she lived around the corner from the Golden State Killer. I still can't get over that. Let me see if I've got some recent photos of the buns. So all the buns are doing good. Oh, I have a really cute photo of Huxley. I'll pop up on the screen. Artie's doing really well. He for those that I have 4 bunnies, for those that don't know. It's all things true crime with a side of bunnies. And Huxley and Daisy are a bonded pair. And then I rescued 2 of my fosters because I volunteer for a rabbit rescue. I have Sassy, so Sassy Pants. So Sassy turned out to be a boy. Did I ever tell you guys that? That was a whole story. Maybe I need to do a story time. And then Artie is a 10-year-old bunny who has severe dental disease, and he's doing so well. He's doing really, really well. He's been on some new medication, and his jaw has reduced in swelling so much. So I don't think he's going to need another surgery, which is really exciting. So this is on screen. This is Huxley. He's the first bunny I've ever had. I rescued him myself. So he's the reason I'm bunny obsessed. And so whenever I'm not on stream, I'm helping do adoptions. I do adoptions for a rescue. So get bunnies new homes. Cheryl T says, I used to walk by the toy box killer's house all the time when he was active. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Morgan, I can't remember if you said that. Did you went past his house when he was just arrested, weren't you? Didn't you? And you like saw it all going down. I think you said that. I can't remember. I don't think I've ever. My only brush would be my dad worked with someone who was also a guard at the jail that Myrtney is at, and he said that he was absolutely crazy. We covered him a couple of weeks ago. You subscribe to the Rabbit Sanctuary? Oh, thank you. We just hit 1,000 subscribers on the Rabbit Sanctuary channel. I do videos for there as well, actually. So we just need everyone to go and watch lots of the Rabbit Sanctuary videos so that we can get those 4,000 hours, and then I can monetize so that we can help save more rabbits. We've got our wait list for rabbits at the moment is like 500 bunnies. Because post-COVID has just absolutely destroyed us. Everyone bought bunnies for lockdown and now they're dumping them. Jack's mum, was he pretending he couldn't walk when arrested? Oh yeah, see if Morgan knows. Oh, Cheryl, I can imagine that your heart dropped when the toy box killer was caught near you. Let me know in the comments, everyone that's watching the replay, if you have any connection to any crimes. I'd love to interview people, actually. Citrus Heights is a small city. Can I share the link? Yep. Let me grab the link to the Rabbit Sanctuary's YouTube channel. So on the Rabbit Sanctuary's YouTube channel, we do educational videos, but we also show everyone what rescues do. Rescue, I think it's called. Let me just grab the link. Okay, I'm popping the link in the chat, and let me pop it in the description of the video so anyone watching the replay that wants to help support a rabbit sanctuary. And honestly, it does help, because when we get monetized, all of the money goes into helping the bunnies. There we go. They are. Rabbit Sanctuary and Respectful Stalking are both RS. That was unintentional. And it turns out that in rescue work, you actually do have to respectfully stalk sometimes, because sometimes bunnies are dumped and you need more information, so you have to do a little respectful stalking. Miss Justice says, friend's son that we met murdered his aunt by bashing her head against oh gosh, I should have read that first before I read it out loud. You saw the whole file. Oh wow, Miss Justice. Morgan says, when I was in high school, my co-worker's roommate went missing. She was found in the dump. Oh my gosh. You never took taxis again? I don't blame you. It's just so sad, like something so mundane, like with Mollie going out for her run or getting in a taxi, or, you know, anything can lead to something so tragic happening. I think that's the part that interests me about true crime, is the why. Thank you, Black Rose, for subscribing to the Rabbit Sanctuary. I really appreciate that. But yeah, the why these things happen. So for me, I do like looking at cases that are currently happening, but for me, I really like cases that are a little older or have that sort of ending, so that I can see the why, and look at it from that perspective. I have a friend who actually is a behavior specialist, and we've been chatting a lot about the behaviors and things like that. And I'm working on it. I know it hasn't come out yet, but I promise it will be coming out soon. The case that I'm working on at the moment is a lot like the why. Like it's so wild. I have the triple O call. I'm thinking about putting the triple O call out first and then doing the video. What do you think about that? I think maybe if I put the call out without the context, then I can cover the case, so that you have a couple of days to marinate on the call and then learn about the case, because you're coming into the case from that 911, triple O call for us in Australia. You learn about it from that perspective, but then I can fill you in on the past and then the present. Let me know what you think. Should I post the call first? Thank you for subscribing. Thank you so much. No worries, Miss Justice. No, that's okay. I'm just trying to be more YouTube friendly, but I'll probably change my mind and not be later. I don't know. But yeah, if you can watch the videos on the Rabbit Sanctuary channel, just pop them on like a loop, or just pop a playlist on and have it in the background. You'll hear my annoying voice the whole time though. But that would really help the channel out, because I really would like to monetize the channel for them, so that they can help more bunnies, because 500 we have on the surrender list, and we can't bring those bunnies into care because we don't have enough foster carers, and we don't have the funds to bring them in, because every bunny we have to bring in costs hundreds of dollars, because then we have to vet work them before we adopt them out. Morgan says, my uncle was killed hit and run walking down the street. They won't give me the file. How long ago was that, Morgan? I'm so sorry that happened. That's awful. Cheryl T. Cheryl T says, I worked with a woman that killed her husband. She went back to her hometown to take care of her husband's estate. It was her trial, and when she didn't come back, we found out she killed her husband. Wow. The taxi driver was deemed mentally incompetent. Ugh. I heard a couple of days ago that Laurie Vallow was found mentally incompetent. I haven't covered the case because everyone's covering it, and so I just find that there's no point when everyone's doing the same thing. I really haven't looked into that case. Probably should, but the link hasn't come up for you. Elaine, if you go to the description of my video, let me just see if it's... Oh, I need to edit those. If you have a look at the description of my video, it will... it's in there, or someone else can pop the link up. Jack's mum says, we're still searching for the killer of a friend of mine that was shot 5 times point blank. Oh my gosh. That's awful. I wonder if a lot of us that are interested in true crime have had something happen. If they've had something happen and that's why they're interested in true crime. I don't know. That's a theory that I've had for a while. Because it seems like a lot of people, or maybe it's just a coincidence. I don't know. So what do we think? Should... Elaine's got the link. Great. Let me know in the comments and the chat. Do you think I should release the video, the triple O, which is 911 call, first for the next case, or have it at the same time as the true crime spotlight comes out? What do you think? I haven't. Yeah, Cheryl. I haven't gone down the rabbit hole of the Valo case at all. Yes, Jax, Mum, I'm intrigued by the psychology of it all as well. Morgan says, my uncle's murder was absolutely why I got a criminal justice degree. I completely understand. Cheryl thinks, I think you might be right, Bridget. About the video idea? I popped the Sean Great 911 call up. Just for people that wanted to listen to that, but just by itself. I think I do like putting the 911 calls up because I really like, I like listening to them. Elaine says, yes, first as a trailer teaser. Yep. It's such a wild triple O call. Will you repeat what? So, Jack's Mum, I'm thinking about putting the triple O call, which is 911 in America. I'm sorry, but it's just easier. It's triple O here. I don't understand why everywhere's not triple O. Anyway, I'm thinking of putting that up first, having that as a separate video by itself so that everyone can listen to that call, and then a week later bring out the video of what actually happened in that case, because the call is wild. It's absolutely wild. And I feel like if you all heard the call first, you could listen to it a couple of times, and then when you come into the video, you'll have a different perspective on it. I think I've watched that documentary, Morgan. Dear Zachary, I think I have. The video that I haven't, I'm like halfway through the script. I really am going to focus on it this week. Maybe save the call for after background. You like the idea of playing it first? Yeah, I'm torn. I think I might do it first. I might do that. We shall see. But I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming in and joining in the chat. I hope that for those that don't know about the Mollie Tibbetts case, that this has helped you a little bit and maybe encourage you to go watch the trial. Honestly, it's worth it. It's very interesting to me. I still can't get over the ninjas, the two little ninjas that apparently appeared in that case. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you're new to the channel, I would love if you would subscribe to the channel. It really helps me to grow. And like the video as well. Share it with some friends who might be interested in all things true crime. Come join us over on our Facebook group. Search for All Things True Crime and it will pop up. And I will see you really soon with another live and covering another case. I'm working on it right now. So have a lovely day or night wherever you are. And I will chat to you guys soon. Bye, guys.